As you probably know, the UFL has added quite a few unique rules to their game in the past, and a couple of which, such as the new kickoff rules and the virtual measurement, have been picked up by the NFL. And once again this year, the UFL will be adding a couple new rules, which potentially means that in the very near future, the NFL will be adding them to their rule book as well. So in this video, I'm going to go into these rules and if I think that they're actually going to eventually become a part of the NFL. But starting with the biggest one, the 4-point field goal, as any successful kick from 60 or more yards will be worth 4 points instead of a usual 3 point. Now, I personally absolutely love this rule. I love special teams, and if I think that it's going to give coaches more reasons to send out kickers, for GMs to pay kickers more, and for kickers to just be more important, despite the fact that in some games they can already be the most important player on the field, I absolutely love it. I really, really love this rule. I think it's very interesting. I personally think that it's something that the NFL potentially may not specifically use, but I do know that they're going to want to make changes to kicking in general just because it's become so overpowered for certain kickers. But I also don't think it's really an issue, in my opinion, that all these kickers can kick from freaking 70 goddamn yards nowadays. But at the same time, I will usually be in favor of expanding special teams and making it more important. So in terms of this becoming an actual NFL rule, I think it still depends on how successful it is in the UFL. But I'd probably give it about a 75% chance of eventually becoming an NFL rule. Next up, we have the 1 foot in bounds rule, and if you don't know, in college and I believe high school football as well, a successful catch only needs 1 foot in bounds or knee or whatever it is to be considered a catch, which is obviously unlike most other professional football. I don't know about other professional leagues, but at least the NFL, you do need 2 feet instead. And I mean, I don't see why not. I think the UFL is perfectly fine to experiment with this. I don't think it's really an issue that the NFL needs to do this. I don't think it's a problem. I don't think it needs to be changed. I think it's an interesting rule that I wouldn't be too upset about it coming to the NFL, but it's also fairly unnecessary in my opinion. So I'll give this like a 30% chance of actually going to the NFL. I don't think it will happen, but the NFL is still adopting a lot of these quote-unquote new rules. And next we get to the banning of the tush push. Now, I am biased, but I also have common sense. And as an Eagles fan with common sense, I find it unbelievable that anybody has ever thought about banning the tush push. There are multiple reasons why I say this. Number one, the biggest reason that all of these owners and coaches and whatnot tried to ban it the last time was because of quote-unquote injury. They even tried to paint a picture of Jason Kelce retired because he got hurt on the tush push, which is obviously completely false based off of what Jason has said, and also just statistical facts that injuries are a football thing, they're not a tush push thing, and they just have not happened that often on specifically the tush push. That's just a fact. Number two, one of the biggest reasons it was almost banned like 2 years ago was because people said it wasn't a football play. That's fucking insane. In my opinion, it's the most football play. You take 11 of your hungriest and strongest dogs that want it more than the other team's hungriest, strongest dogs that also want it more. And you see who can fight for every single inch more than any usual QB sneak could ever emulate. It's about pure strength and strategy, but mainly strength, using physics to your advantage. And in my opinion, a play that makes you fight for every single inch and is decided by who is strongest and who wants it more is the definition of football through and through. And if you disagree, I don't know what to say to you. Already, we had to have Jason Kelce himself go and talk to owners and coaches to convince them not to ban it, which is already insane enough. But the main fact that people wanted this banned was because the Eagles were too good at it, which by that metric means that Patrick Mahomes should have been banned years ago. Tom Brady should have been banned years ago. The forward pass, a consistently good defense, should have been banned. It's all the exact same thing. It's just a team or a person or a coach or whatever finding a way to dominate. And the fact that that is being banned is absolutely dog shit insane. Especially because the Eagles are not as good at it anymore. Like, we've gotten worse. And if the problem is the officiating, that sure as hell isn't my problem. That sure as hell isn't the Eagles' problem. And my opinion after all this, I'm sorry for going on a rant, I'm just very passionate about this. It's unbelievable that anybody has ever thought about banning it. It's insanely stupid. The fact that the UFL is doing it is whatever. I don't care about the UFL to the point where I care about the NFL, but it does mean that unfortunately the tush push will probably get banned eventually if this works. I mean, there hasn't been a Super Bowl champion that has been dominating in the UFL with a quarterback sneak. That just hasn't happened. But again, it is also kind of cool that we all will have witnessed such a dominant play that they had to ban it, which is an unbelievable level of dominance and out by everybody else who was not as dominant at it. So at the end of the day, I think it probably will get banned eventually by the NFL, but I also think that it's unbelievably stupid that anybody has even thought about banning it. And I am an Eagles fan. I am biased. I'm using common sense, okay? But anyway, I'm sorry I ranted about that. I'm really sorry. I can't. It's unbelievable. Unfortunately, I would give this like a 75% chance of actually happening in the NFL. It's insane to me. And we have more special teams rules. Sorry for going on that rant. I just get really passionate about the tush push. But again, more special teams here. There's no punting allowed inside the 50-yard line. I love this. This is freaking awesome. Now, there are some stipulations to this rule. This rule does not apply after the 2-minute warning of either half, which I think is pretty good if you want to just end a game by punting, by, putting the other team in a dire position. You're up, you have to punt within your own 50 because you don't want to risk a field goal to give it up right there. You can punt it, and if you have a good enough punter, you can pin them within the 5 or the 10 or whatever yard line. Then they have to go 90 yards or 60 yards or whatever. I really like that part of it. And then, once the ball is made ready to play inside the 50-yard line, a team cannot punt even if a subsequent penalty or loss of yardage moves the ball behind the 50-yard line. Essentially, if at any point the offense moves the ball past the 50-yard line, they are 100% eliminated from punting that drive, unless it's obviously within the last 2 minutes of a half, meaning that technically you can get to the 49-yard line, get sacked like 3 times, move back 40 yards, and you're simply not allowed to punt when it's 4th and 40 or whatever from your own 10. I think that's absolutely hilarious. I want to see that happen. Maybe it's not the best rule, but I kind of love that. And either way, I think this is a great rule. Also, if the ball is placed exactly on the 50-yard line, a team can punt the ball. I think this is great. I love punting, but if you're punting within the 50-yard line, that's a little crazy. I love to see punters, pin the ball, but especially with all these kickers, like I don't know. I like this rule. I think if it goes there, I think there's definitely potential for this to not go well in the UFL. But if it goes well, I would give this I'll give it a 50% chance of making its way to the NFL. There are some stipulations that they might have to change it with again, if you move backwards past the 50-yard line, maybe they want to change that, but I like that. And then they made some overtime rules. If teams make it to overtime, they will get 3 attempts at the 5-yard line to, I'm assuming, a score. This is no matter if one team does not score on the first time and the other team does score on the first time. The first team that did not score still gets 2 more opportunities to take the lead, which I like this. I think it's interesting. I think it's new. I think the overtime rules aren't perfect, but I also think that anybody who cries about the overtime rules lost in overtime. But I like to see innovation in overtime and especially these controversial areas. So I like this. I like this rule a lot. And if again they are still tied after 3 attempts, they'll just go back and forth like usual overtime, especially like in college. I like to see this. I think it's different. I don't know if the NFL would do something like this. I'll give this like a 20% chance of actually making it if it goes well, because it doesn't feel like an NFL rule at all, if that makes sense. But I could see it happening. And then I believe this next rule, the UFL has had a version of before. After a touchdown, they now have 3 options to get points. The extra point conversion from the 33-yard line. I think that's normal for the NFL, 33-yard line. That probably sounds right. The 2-point conversion, which is obviously ball is placed at the 2-yard line. You got 1 attempt and you get 2 points if you make it. And then the new 3-point conversion, where the ball is placed at the 8-yard line, and I'm assuming you get 1 attempt, it's all the same, you're just further back. Now, I think this is interesting because now you can get a total of 9 points any given possession. I don't know how much I like that. I like the current 8 rule, and I think messing with it is interesting. I think, again, the UFL is the perfect testing ground for these types of rules. You know, a stable league that's going to be around for a little while. So I like to see these rules here, but I don't necessarily like adding a whole nother thing for that. It's just, I mean, I really like the 4-point field goal, obviously, because that has to do with special teams, but I think this is just a bit much. I definitely like 8-yard lines. That feels like a good place where it's still very difficult to get a touchdown from the 8-yard line, so I think that's all right, but like, I don't know. I don't like this. I think it could get to the NFL. I'll give it like 15% chance, but I personally don't really see it. I think it's, again, nice testing ground, but I don't love it. And of course, the ever-changing kickoff rules. The kickoff line is now at the 30-yard line, which I believe is a little bit further back than what it has been in the NFL and UFL, I think. I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure it's 10 yards back. Yeah, I believe it was. And the kickoff team, like the weird line that the players just kind of have to awkwardly stand in for 4 seconds until the ball hits the ground or they catch it. That's now moved back from the 40 to the 45-yard line. This feels like we're just slowly regressing back to the better kickoff rules. Like, are we just going to move it back until we're eventually all running at each other again? I liked that. I really liked that. A lot of injuries, sure, but like, I think there was bigger problems. I don't know. Sure. The receiving team zone is now from the 40 to the 35-yard line, which it was previously the 35 to the 30-yard line. I think, again, that's just moving everything back. The landing zone is being changed to the 20-yard line. I think this rule is already in the NFL. It's just you have to kick it within the 20-yard line. That's the landing zone, and if it's not there, the ball will be spotted at the 40. Same with out of bounds. It's a penalty. Well, maybe not penalty, but if the ball is kicked out of bounds, it immediately goes to the 40. Ooh, and this is interesting. I really don't like this. If the ball is touched back or kicked into the end zone, it will also be spotted at the 40, but the 20-yard line for balls that land in the landing zone and then enter the end zone. And the big reason I don't like this is that already it feels like the NFL and these teams are getting the ball like way too down the field if it's just kicked off in the end zone. I know they don't want, like, they want to reduce injuries, but they still want to have kickoffs as much as possible. It just feels like a big mess. Like, the 40-yard line? I'm pretty sure the NFL also previously had it at the 35-yard line for, like, touchback balls. But that's like a couple, 2-3 yards until Cam Little can hit a game winner. That's nothing. I don't like that at all. The whole kickoff rule changes. It's all a mess. I don't think it's gonna ever get to as good as it used to be, no matter if that even was good in the first place, but it's just not good. I really don't like this, and unfortunately I do think the NFL would have a pretty good chance of adding stuff like this. I think they're going to continue tweaking it. I unfortunately would give a lot of these rules like a 75% chance of actually making it, because the NFL just wants to make a kickoff rule every single year to make it more confusing and worse than it used to be. But that's it. I hope you enjoyed my rant. Let me know what you think about all of these rules in the comments below, and I hope you enjoyed at least a little bit. I know I got a little angry about the tush push and everything. It was a very opinionated video, but I hope you enjoyed, and I will see you next time. See ya.